Hey guys, and welcome back. This is part 2 of my travel guitar series. This one is the actual tutorial where I go step by step with you guys and show you what it took to make this guitar and how you could make something similar yourself. On screen is just going to be a couple video clips of this is me playing in a hotel room, then it's going to be me playing it in the car, and that's just to give you guys a little context of what you can do with this. The next video will be the kind of accessories video where I talk about the small amplifier I use for travel, the headstock cover, using it in a backpack, a cool way to hold your picks, stuff like that. And the last video will be the sound test video where I test the 3 pickups I put in it, which isn't so specific to this project, but might give you guys a little input. So first things first, I designed the shape. I wanted to look cool, so I kind of made this teardrop shape. Next up, I had to go out and actually get a guitar. I knew I wanted a Strat style guitar with 3 single coil pickups since I didn't have a guitar like that yet, and I ended up with this Behringer Stratocaster. I began taking it apart right away, took out the front mounted jack, took out all the electronics, unbolted the neck. If you guys haven't done that before, maybe look at a YouTube video on how to disassemble a guitar. It's really not hard, but you do want to be careful not to break anything in the process, especially when you're taking out the electronics. You will need to have a soldering gun to do the project successfully. Next, I designed what I would have as the headstock design. I wanted to have a 3-in-3 design instead of a 6 inline. That way it's significantly shorter because the Behringer headstock design that was already on it was very long. These photos that you're going to see here are just measurements. You can kind of see the black line of where I drew around. In case you want to duplicate this exactly, these are the general measurements around the edges that you're going to want to use to get the same shape. And you can see we're taking a lot of wood off there, so it really does make it smaller. So basically all we've done so far is disassemble it and Sharpie on the design. Not too big of a deal. As I said in the previous video, this makes it, I think, 6 inches shorter and 3 inches narrower, give or take. And that really is a big difference when you're talking guitar sizes. And the great thing about this is, unlike a lot of travel guitars, this is still a full scale length. So anyways, the next thing I did was tackle the electronics. You'll see here that I changed out the pickup covers from white to black, and I changed out the pickups themselves. I only left one of the Behringers in there. I threw in an old Ibanez pickup I had, and also an Intwinsel X62N. From here, I sharpied it on in silver to make it really easy to see. This is the final design right here. You see it here, you see it there. You'll notice that the pencil design is a little bit different on the headstock because I had to modify it to be able to mount the tuning pegs properly. So here we go, I get my saw out. It's not too fancy, it's just a little handheld jigsaw deal. Make sure to be safe while you're using these kinds of tools. They can be dangerous. Get an adult to help you if you're young. Just make sure you know how to use the tool. This is what it looks like roughly cut out. We managed to do it in one cut, so we ended up with just this weird guitar body piece afterwards. This is one area we had a little bit of a problem with, is that the original guitar design had a front mounted jack, like a lot of Stratocasters do. I wanted it to be a corner mount on the side, like some other, you know, how Ibanez's and stuff are. So we're gonna have to fill that in and fix that later. This is just a mock-up after it's been completely cut out. I'm now tracing the lines onto the pick guard of where I'm going to have those lines be. So you can see I'm cutting off some of the top left and the top right, and I'm just laying it together to kind of see how it'll look. I also cut off the headstock there just along the line, though you couldn't see it. This is what the pick guard looks like once it's been cut out and sanded with some 400 grit sandpaper and then 800 grit sandpaper to really round off that edge at the top. I didn't take the effort to really bevel it because this is just a simple travel guitar. From here, I've put the electronics all on the pick guard, got the new black knobs on there so we have a nice black and white contrast compared to the all white that was in it originally, and I've now sanded down all the paint off of it. You don't have to sand all the paint off of it since you're going to be repainting it anyways, but I like to. Here you'll see I'm just planning out the holes for the tuning pegs to be swapped to the other side, and here you'll see I'm drilling through the side for that jack to go into that main cavity underneath the potentiometers. So that's not too big of a deal. I also use some wood filler to fill in that original hole we had on the front and also those holes that we had for the string retainers on the headstock. Here are the 2 paints I used. I used Rust-Oleum hammered like it says black, but it ends up a little bit more gray, and also a color shift paint. I started painting it. You'll see that I didn't get the surface perfect. You know, that's fine, because for this project we are more worried about it being rugged and light, stuff like that, not worrying about it. You can see there where I used the wood filler, and I also have dremeled off that top section just to give it a little accent. The paint does look a little bit darker once it's dried, as you can see here, and it really has a nice finish to it. It's a lot harder than you would expect, and this method, using this hammered paint, saves you from having to go through the clear coat, which clear coats are, like lacquer, is very durable, but it really can be a pain to do, and just using the hammered paint for a simple travel guitar works nicely. It hides all the marks and everything else. I dremeled off that top piece like we were talking about to give it a little bit more style, and I also just hung it up to dry. Left it for a couple days, made sure it was plenty dry. That part that I dremeled out, I painted with chrome paint just to give it even a little bit more contrast, and now we move on to the color shift paint. This picture really shows it well. I used a red-green color shift. There's lots of different kinds though. You can pick what you want. It ends up looking green in most lights. From here, I got some silver or some aluminum tape and just shielded out all the cavities, made it so that, especially with single coils, you gotta make sure to shield those cavities properly. Go ahead and look up on YouTube for a way to do that. I'm not gonna cover that here, but it is important to keep you from getting hum. You'll see here that I mounted the tuning pegs back on. One thing that's unfortunate about this is that the tuning pegs on the higher strings are backwards because of how we had to swap them around. It's not really a big deal once you're aware of it, but it is something to keep in mind. I also had to trim off a small piece of metal off of one of the tuning peg mounting plates just to make sure it fit on there properly, but it really wasn't a big deal. After that, you're just going to assemble the guitar, put all the electronics back in there, screw down that jack plate with the jack on the corner now, put in all the electronics, bolt the neck on, and you are good to go. I really like how it turned out and how it looks. I really like how portable it is. I can just throw it in a backpack, play it in the car, whatever. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below if you have any questions about this project. I'm always happy to help, and I check my comments regularly. Next video will be about the accessories that I use with this guitar to kind of help it in its travel usage. And lastly is going to be the sound test. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't seen it already, check out the overview video. I will have an annotation of that in the end card. Take it easy, guys. Welcome to the end of the video. If you made it this far, maybe I deserve a like. You can click that down below. If you want to see more like this from me, you can click subscribe up in the top right. That'll also notify you when the next part of this series comes out. The video on the left is the overview video for the travel guitar, and the video on the right is a cover of Tori Kelly's Confetti. It's a great song cover, not using this guitar, but it's also just a cool video. Go check them out, and I'll see you there.